In the twilight of ancient Egypt, a man named Setne walked the sun-baked streets of Memphis. He was a prince, a high priest, and a scholar, a living legend revered throughout the land. He meticulously restored forgotten temples and translated papyri no one else could comprehend, earning him the title of the first Egyptologist. But his public life was merely a mask for the insatiable hunger that gnawed at his soul. Setne's heart yearned for the ultimate prize, a legendary artifact whispered about only in the most sacred and secret chambers of the House of Life, the Book of Thoth. This was no mere scroll. It was said to be the very word of the god Thoth himself, deity of writing, wisdom, and magic. Within its ancient papyrus, two spells of unimaginable power lay hidden. One promised the reader the ability to understand the language of all animals, from the smallest beetle to the mightiest lion, and to perceive the very forms of the gods themselves. The other, far more terrifying in its scope, granted absolute dominion over the heavens, the earth, and the chilling depths of the underworld. The immense power of the book was a divine secret for a reason. Thoth had deemed it too dangerous for any mortal to wield without plunging the cosmos into chaos. In his wisdom, he had hidden it, encasing the book in 7 protective boxes before casting it to the bottom of the Nile near the ancient town of Koptos. There it was guarded by an eternal serpent and other shadowy, magical creatures, ensuring no human could disturb its slumber. But Setne had learned that Thoth's precautions had once been breached. He had heard whispers that the book's last owner, a powerful sorcerer named Prince Setne, had retrieved the book from the river, overcoming Thoth's magic with a spell of his own. And even more compelling, Setne had been told that Setne was now buried with the book in his tomb, deep within the necropolis of Saqqara. Convinced of his own destiny, Setne set out to claim what he believed was rightfully his. He was not merely searching for a relic, he was pursuing his fate. With his foster brother Inaros at his side, Setne ventured into the sacred, silent grounds of Saqqara. He found the tomb, a crack in the earth shrouded in the dust of ages, and descended into its cool, quiet darkness. The very air hummed with an unnerving stillness. In the central chamber, he found the mummified form of Prince Setne, and, by his side, the very object of Setne's quest, the Book of Thoth. Yet this was no ordinary burial. The tormented ghosts of Setne's wife, Awere, and their young son, Merib, sat with him, bound to the very object that had caused their demise. As Setne, his heart a drum of possessive hunger, reached for the glowing book, a spectral form began to coalesce. It was the ghost of Awere. "Do not touch it, Prince Setne," she warned. "Listen to my tale and learn the truth of this cursed book." Aware began her tragic story, unfolding a narrative of a prince much like Setne. "My husband, Setne, was a skilled scribe and magician, a man obsessed with acquiring the knowledge he believed was his right. He learned of the Book of Thoth's hidden location, far to the south, beneath the treacherous waters near Koptos. Setne, ignoring all warnings, crafted a magical wax boat and animated its crew with a powerful spell. They sailed up the Nile, leaving behind a terrified Aware and Merib. When Setne reached the hidden spot, he cast sand into the water, and the river parted in two, revealing the depths. There, guarding the gilded box, was a monstrous, eternal serpent. Setne fought the beast, cutting it in half. But to his horror, the serpent's severed halves magically rejoined, coming back to life. Again and again he fought, until finally, with a desperate burst of power, he cast a handful of enchanted sand between its halves, permanently separating them and securing his victory. He worked his way through the 7 layers of chests until he pulled forth the glowing papyrus. The moment Setne unrolled the scroll, a surge of power coursed through him, and in a breathtaking vision, he saw the sun god Ra, the moon, and the countless stars. He had become a master of all magic, capable of enchanting the very cosmos. He returned to his wife and son, and as he shared the book with Aware, she also read the spells and experienced the same overwhelming vision. They even made a copy of the book, which Setne soaked in beer, dissolved, and drank, literally ingesting the magic words into his very being. But Thoth, the true author and owner of the book, was not pleased. Enraged by Naneferkaptah's theft and presumption, he complained to the great god Ra about the mortal who dared steal his ultimate secrets. With the Book of Thoth in their possession, Naneferkaptah, Awer, and their son Merib set sail for their journey home. But their boat was suddenly and mysteriously halted. Merib fell into the river and drowned. Grief-stricken, they returned to Koptos for his burial. They set out a second time, but again their boat was mysteriously halted at the very same spot. Awer herself fell into the river and drowned. Naneferkaptah, now utterly broken, returned to Koptos to have her buried beside their son. With nothing left to lose, Naneferkaptah prepared for his final journey. He bound the deadly Book of Thoth tightly to his own body, and when his boat stopped yet again, he fell into the river and vanished. His body, however, mysteriously reappeared, magically holding fast to the boat's rudder. The pharaoh ordered a fine burial for Naneferkaptah in Saqqara, ensuring the deadly scroll was hidden away within the tomb. "Now you know, Prince Setne," the ghost of Awer concluded. "Possessing this book is deadly for any mortal. It brings only sorrow and destruction." Blinded by ambition, Setne ignored her chilling plea. The ghost of Naneferkaptah, sensing Setne's stubborn resolve, then challenged him to a game of chance. The stakes were high. The loser would forfeit all his possessions to the winner. Naneferkaptah won 3 consecutive rounds, yet Setne's will to possess the book remained unbroken. In a final desperate act, Setne, a powerful magician in his own right, used a secret, potent spell to physically retrieve the book, bypassing Naneferkaptah's ghost in seizing his prize. As Setne emerged from the tomb, the legendary Book of Thoth clutched tightly in his hands. A surge of unparalleled power coursed through him. But his triumph was tragically short-lived. Thoth's curse, subtle yet insidious, began to take hold. It was not an immediate physical calamity, but a slow, humiliating erosion of his moral compass. He became utterly infatuated with a dazzlingly beautiful and wealthy woman named Tabubu, whom he saw in a temple. Her allure was intoxicating, her power over him absolute. Tabubu, playing a cruel game orchestrated by the curse, promised to sleep with him, but only under 2 horrifying conditions. He must first transfer all of his vast worldly possessions to her, and then, in a chilling demand, sign a document stating that his own beloved children would be killed and their bodies thrown to the hungry dogs. Blinded by lust, a desire amplified and twisted by the book's dark influence, Setne agreed to this monstrous pact. Drunk on wine and consumed by his base desires, Setne fell into a deep, magically induced sleep. His world dissolved into a vivid, horrifying nightmare. He saw his own children, innocent and defenseless, brutally slain before his very eyes. He awoke, shivering violently, naked and alone in the street, utterly bewildered and abandoned. Tabubu, his temptress, had vanished. In that moment of utter despair, Setne understood the true meaning of the curse. As he walked back to his dwelling, he said to himself, "If Tabubu and all her sorceries were but a dream, they show me in what terrible danger I stand. For if such another spell is cast upon me, next time it will prove to be no dream." He sought out his father, the revered Pharaoh, and confessed everything. His father advised him not to fight the curse, but to surrender. "Return the Book of Thoth to its rightful place, my son," the Pharaoh commanded, "and make amends for your arrogance." Chastened and utterly humbled, Setne returned to Naneferkaptah's tomb. The ghost, seeing Setne's genuine remorse, spoke again, offering a path to redemption. He asked Setne for one final favor: to find the mummies of Awer and Merib from their lonely burial site in Koptos and bring them back to rest forever with him in the tomb. Setne, no longer driven by greed but by a profound desire for atonement, agreed at once. He then faced a new challenge: finding their tomb, as all records of it had been lost. He traveled back to Koptos and, after searching for days, was approached by an old man who claimed to know the location. Setne quickly realized that the old man was the Ka of Naneferkaptah in disguise. The Ka led him to an ancient house that was built over the burial site. Setne bought the house and had it torn down, revealing the tomb of Awer and Merib beneath. He embarked on a new journey, a pilgrimage of repentance, carefully transporting the mummies of Awer and Merib back to Saqqara. finally reuniting the ghostly family in their eternal resting place. The myth of Prince Setne is a powerful allegory for the human psyche, a journey into the self. Setne, the protagonist, represents the ego, a rational consciousness embarking on a perilous descent into the unknown depths of the collective unconscious. Naneferkapta acts as a dark twin, showing Setne what he could become if he lets these desires consume him. The curse of the book is not magic, but a way for Setne's unacknowledged flaws to surface. His unintegrated anima, his unconscious feminine side, is corrupted, and he ends up projecting onto the woman Tabubu, seeing her as a perfect ideal until she betrays him. This betrayal forces Setne into a dark night of the soul that completely dismantles his ego. His final act of surrender is not a defeat, but a moment of true self-realization and individuation. The psychological process of letting go of an impossible desire and integrating his shadow. The myth of Setne is a profound warning about the danger of clinging to a futile quest. It asks a timeless question: are you, like Setne, trapped in a pursuit that isn't meant for you, either through arrogance or unconscious denial? Are there warnings you tend to ignore or be in denial about? Perhaps you're stuck chasing an impossibility, trying to control something that's not in your hands. Much like Sisyphus pushing his rock, are you fighting a battle you can't win simply because you refuse to accept a different path? Could there be a toxic obsession in your own life that you need to let go of? Perhaps it's an unrequited love, a pining for someone never meant to be yours, the futile desire for affection or validation from someone who simply won't give it, or the desperate pursuit of a dream that can never be. Maybe, as Setne's final act teaches, it's time to surrender. His act of surrender is a path to genuine peace, proving that true victory isn't found in grasping for what we can't have, but in the wisdom and strength to simply let it go.